Good afternoon, and thank you so much once again for joining me on In the Bottle. I'm your host, Angelica Nohra, and it's my aim each week to educate you on wines from all over the world, leave you with a little bit of trivia, and accidentally, maybe, a little bit tipsy as well. So please, grab a glass of something you love. Let us know what you are enjoying in the comments below. But before we start, please let me thank the team here once again at Studio 24/7, who week after week, they just show up to make this happen, and their professionalism each week just never ceases to amaze me. So thank you guys so much again for having me. And secondly, please remember, this is interactive. I want your questions. I want your comments. If something doesn't make sense, or if you need a little bit more clarification, please pop your questions into the chat box and we'll do our best to answer them. But without further ado, I am so excited for today's show because I know I have a weak spot in my wine knowledge, and that is around Burgundy and Burgundian wine. So I'll be learning so much from this episode, as well as I hope that you will. And I couldn't think of anyone better to chat Burgundy with than my guest today, Leigh Dryden. His business, Decante This, was first founded in Switzerland in 2009, and then he actually moved to Australia in 2012, and in a way to kind of expand Australia's knowledge on French wines. He specialises specifically in biodynamic and organic wines from Burgundy and Champagne. Their team's actually based in Newcastle, and they really strive to engage lovers of quality wine in new and innovative ways. And really, he's famous for his little Facebook rants about the misinformation on labels of French wines in major supermarkets. So please put your virtual claps together for Leigh Dryden.
Thanks.
Hey, Leigh.
Thanks, Ange. Those rants are becoming well known now.
Everyone, I think everyone. And it's actually something I look forward to on Facebook, where I'm like, oh, he's got a wine. He's picked it up from some major supermarket.
I can't help it. I'm a wine tragic. I'm a passionate wine guy. I have a very high moral code as well when it comes to wine.
Yeah, awesome. So tell us a little bit about your story. Like, how did you actually end up in the wine game?
Look, I think I've been a wine tragic all my life. As a little kid, I grew up in a small town called Millwall in northeastern Victoria, behind Brown Brothers Vineyards. I think that DNA got in there.
Oh, yeah.
Had a sliding door moment when doing my first degree, and was going to pursue a degree in viticulture and oenology, but just pursued a corporate career. Came back 25 years later to what I believe to be my heartfelt passion and my desire in life. Is I just adore wine. I adore good wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why are you specialising in French, for instance? Like, what is it about French wine that you love?
I think France, for a lot of Australians, holds a very special place. French wine, probably, I think, of all the wines of the world, is one of the misunderstood wines. The people know the reasons for Champagne or Bordeaux or Burgundy or Provence, wherever, but they really don't actually understand the complexity. And I think French wines, probably more than any other wine in the world, without being any disrespectful, are the most complex in the world, and Burgundy probably is the most complex.
And that's why I'm so excited to be talking Burgundy today. So excited. But, you know, what makes Burgundy so coveted? Like, what makes them so special?
I think Burgundy's always been held by names. You often hear people talk about appellations and climat. There's a lot of nomenclature that's thrown around, but there are famous names: Clos Vougeot, Vaux-Romanée, Châlonnais. These names are thrown around with quite gay abandon. These, Echazot, Richebourg. There's a number of very, very well-known places, and Chablis. What I find is interesting is that there's only a small percentage of people who actually understand what it takes to understand that particular wine. People will buy that because of the name without any understanding or knowledge.
It's absolutely true, and I'm someone who does that. I'm a culprit of that. I just think the prestige of holding that bottle in my hand is actually part of it, and I know nothing else about it. Thank you for bringing that up. Where will we start today?
Well, I thought we'd take a little step back.
Oh, okay.
Knowing your penchant for champagne, this is our little producer out of a small village called Cumières.
Nice.
It's Domaines Vadin Plateau or Champagne Vadin Plateau. Jan is a wonderful young winemaker, 30 years old.
Oh, wow.
Came back to his estate in 2012, embarked on turning the whole estate into biodynamic. That is a significant exercise to do.
And we're trying the rosé.
We are trying the rosé, which the
Ooh.
2018 will be the first true biodynamic.
Okay.
Out of this is under conversion. I would never say this is 100%
Yeah.
biodynamic.
But are his other wines biodynamic?
Yes, he's
okay,
got
so
he's
it's
got a
the
whole
only one
range.
that's not. Is there a reason? Is it because of where the grapes come from?
Well, it takes 7 years to receive your SS
Ooh,
cert.
opened it so well.
If I can be so bold, it should sound like the sigh of a contented woman, as my French winemakers would say, but I may end up in a lot of trouble on that
Well,
one.
you've said it now. I think that's why I brought the champagne glasses.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was wondering why we had the champagne glasses.
Oh,
Sneaky. I thought he was just trying to make a pretty display for us today.
No, it actually prepares the palate beautifully. You know, the beauty of this is two of the grapes we're going to be looking at, Chardonnay and Pinot Noir.
Okay.
And I think it's just
Perfect.
a nice segue
Great.
into the wines.
I'm so excited. So I'm just going to reach for that. I'm very excited. Thank you so much. Cheers
Pleasure.
to that
Sante.
one. So tell us, Sante, of course. So tell us, oh, goodness me, it smells good. Tell me what the blend is, how they make it. Tell me everything.
So 65% Chardonnay and 30% Pinot Noir. And then the last 5% is a Vin de Cumière. So it's the red wine, it's the still red wine we press from the Pinot.
So this is Saignée method.
It's a Saignée method, very traditional. And this is probably the biggest deal in Cumières because everyone comes to watch the creation of the Vin de Cumière. It's at lunchtime normally after we've picked in the vineyards. The Pinot Noir comes from a biodynamic vineyard called Bourgogne, and the Chardonnay comes from another biodynamic vineyard called Chêne Tree on the Hill. The French are very creative in the way that they name things.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So straight away on the nose, you get like so much. Sorry, we're just going to sit here drinking, guys. Like, hopefully you learn something, but we're just going to be drinking these today. Like the nose has just got this beautiful, like the pop of the crispy apple skin.
Yeah.
Like the apple skin, the green apple skin is really vibrant in this.
It's got a lovely pear inflection to it. It's got that really interesting. You get the brioche and the burnt caramel in there.
How long's it been on Leigh's?
That spends about 36 months to 48 months on Leigh, so it's still a very young wine. It ages beautifully. This one is. Yarn normally does an 80-20 rule of a vintage, so past vintage, current vintage. It's just, for me, it's an elegant wine. For a lot of people that don't drink rosé, for example, when they try this, and this is both male and female, they go, wow, this is really edgy, because I think the impression of rosé as a style is sweet.
Yes.
This is not. This is
No,
savoury.
it's bone dry.
This has been described as quite funky and edgy.
Yeah.
I love this because it goes with so much food.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm a mad foodie, you know. You don't
I was already thinking about it. I'm like, I wonder if we can take this today.
Oh, blue cheese, charcuterie, persimmons, just anything. It goes so beautifully.
Yeah, wow. That is so lovely. Yes, that is so yummy. That is such a treat. So Saignée method, 60-30, 60% Chardonnay, 30% biodynamic, but this one's not under conversion. Wow, that is awesome. And how much, what's their volume like? What's Vadin's?
They do about 165,000 bottles. This is a tiny estate.
Beautiful, and it's all family run.
It's all family run. Jan is a ninth generation winemaker. The house has been around since the late 1700s. So in the greatness of the maisons of Champagne, they're up there with the Moët Chandons, the Veuve Clicquots, the Bollingers, the Ruinarts, whoever.
I'd love to be just part of a champagne family, wouldn't you?
Well,
I would just love it. Like
lot hard
the prestige.
work.
I know, but just the prestige of saying, oh yes, I totally know the Moëts.
yeah, but these guys, you've got to remember about the Champagne wines. They're very earthy people, so
down to earth.
They're farmers first.
Farmers, yes.
So they don't have that. They don't have that. I think belief like Burgundy has the rock stars. Champagne has its rock stars as well.
Yeah.
But the average champagne maker is quite a down to earth farmer. That's it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. That is such a treat. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. I am not spitting any of that out. I'm just going to put this to the side as we move on to our first Burgundian wine. That was such a great way. Such a great way to like wet the palate.
Oh, it does.
Thank you.
Gets you going. That was
awesome.
Feel it popping. Yep.
That was really good. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that there for us for later. So I guess we have to move into Burgundy now. Now I want to talk about champagne, but okay.
No, we got a little bit sidetracked there. It's not hard.
Yeah, we did. But no, thank you. Thanks, such a treat. Where did you want to start? You want to start?
I think we'll start with the Macon.
Yeah? Okay, cool. So, just for those people playing at home, what are the main regions, I guess, of Burgundy that people need to be aware of? It's probably a good first question. Sorry, guys, I'm having no luck with this this thing today. I'm like having a lot of trouble with my microphone. I'm sorry. But yeah, what kind of regions should people be aware of? Like, this is Macon. Like, yeah, tell us.
Burgundy's very interesting because, as you can see behind us, or hopefully everyone can see behind us, it's a long corridor extending from the south to the north. So at the northern end of the classic Burgundy region is Dijon. No grapes are grown there, and then you move
mustard,
towards
right?
great mustard and great cassis as well.
Yep.
But and you're moving further south. So we're in the most southern part in the Maconnais, closer to the Rhone Valley, closer to Mont Blanc and the the French and Swiss Alps.
Okay.
Very much a warmer climate as such, because we're moving further south.
Yeah.
The soil structure changes significantly. You've got a lot more alluvial. You have the schist down there. You have the white limestone. You have some interesting clay go on there as well.
What's for those? What's schist? What is that?
Schist
Because that's
is
quite a
granite.
specific
It's
thing
a
for Burgundy.
It's a granite.
Granite.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Is this? Can you show?
No,
it?
this is
Not yet?
no, that's Beaujolais. Which I'll
Okay,
probably
we'll get
hold that
there.
back.
We'll get there in a sec. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Interesting.
the beauty of Macon is it's had such a bad reputation for so long. It's been overfarmed, industrialised, lots of chemicals.
Oh, really?
And it's had a very bad reputation. In the last 10 years, there has been a significant push to raise the quality levels of the Macon. There's some beautiful wines. Lugny is one of my favourite beautiful little villages.
Okay.
Another favourite is Ville Clissé. Love their wines.
Okay.
Clear, direct, not simple, and I use that word in a very elegant way, not in this is a bad wine. It's just a very simple and direct wine, not complicated, beautiful for Australia. Summertime, you sit this, chill this down. It goes with everything that we eat now.
Yeah,
here.
awesome. And I guess the question really is, okay, the word is Macon. I mean, obviously Macon isn't the grape. What grape is used
This
in
is
this?
Chardonnay.
So we are still on Chardonnay?
We're still on Chardonnay.
Okay, so
Yep.
when we're talking Burgundy, we're talking about Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. That
Correct.
is essentially all we've got, or is there more to
We've
it?
got a little bit of Aligoté. Aligoté is probably the ugly stepchild of Chardonnay. But it's not actually, because Aligoté, a lot of the young winemakers, particularly in the southern parts, in the Maconnais and the Côté Châlonnais, are really looking at Aligoté in a different way, and there's a lot of complexity now coming out. I'm a big fan. I love Aligoté. It's just like...
I have to say I am too. Yeah, I think it's very underrated.
Yeah. And price-wise, the beauty of it is that you're going to get good value for it. Because it's a regional blend, you're not going to pay a small fortune. I think that's one of the big things we'll probably talk about is about pricing.
Yeah.
Is that the expectation that because it's from Burgundy, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg.
Yeah, it doesn't have to.
No.
Yeah, awesome.
No.
Okay, so we're drinking Macon. Do you want to explain? We are drinking the range from Albert Bichot today,
Correct.
aren't we?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So we'll talk more about that as we go along. But I noticed that they've got wines from all the different regions of Burgundy. Is that specific? Is that what they do, or do they have a domain in one spot? Do they get grapes from everywhere? How does it work?
The assumption about Bichot wrongly is that it's a negociant. It's not.
Okay.
They actually own over 114 hectares of their own vines from one end of Burgundy to the other, from Beaujolais through to Chablis. They then lease a series of vines from other growers. They do have a domain in each of the major locations. So they have Domaines Albert Bichot in Chablis, Fontaine in Nuits St George. They have the major facility in Beaune. They have one in Pommard, and then they have one in Beaujolais as well, and then Chateau Gris as well. So they actually have 6 facilities.
Unbelievable.
So the beauty of what they do, rather than a lot of the other winemakers where their central winemaking facilities are sitting in Beaune, they can pick their grape and be virtually in the winehouse within 5 minutes. No dry ice, no transportation, no bumping, no stress heat. It's very, very quick.
It's so sustainable.
Yeah, it
Instead
is.
of having trucks moving around, that's incredible. Wow. Are they family owned as well?
Have been family owned for a number of years, and that's the beauty of it. They are the last of the only family owned winemakers in Burgundy. Everyone else has been corporatised. Even though you'll look at it and it appears it's still a family estate, Bichot is the only family-owned winemaker in Burgundy.
That is
of this
incredible.
Size. There are smaller producers,
yeah.
please don't get me wrong, but of this size. So when you look at a Latour, Jadot, those people, they appear to be family. They're actually...
Wow, awesome. All right, well, let's give this wine a little go. Because one thing that strikes me straight away on this wine is this bit of like inside the oyster shell kind of smell, that really nice shelly kind of smell coming from it. But also that floral, like it's super, it just pops, like the florals just pop out of this glass.
You get the flintiness.
Yeah, the
and that's endemic. And, you get, when we look at the Chablis, you'll get the flintiness again as well. You've got to remember that this is a rift valley that was created millions and millions of years ago. There used to be a sea that ran basically between Paris and up into Germany. So the reason we have this flintiness and you have that ethereal sort of seashell, oyster shell coming through it is because this giant rift was created by this inland sea.
That's incredible. Like, just to hear a story like that, to understand how, like, it's like, where does this soil, how is this soil created? It's like carbon dating the universe, isn't it? It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. This is great. What kind of price point with something like a Macon?
Oh, for this in retail, probably between about high 20s and early 30s.
Really?
Yep. Well, from our point, our pricing anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like so complete. It's got all that beautiful fruit, like all the stone fruit, all that melon kind of characters coming through, but also that little bit of creaminess, which is absolutely perfect. Like the average Australian would love this.
Oh, I believe that. That's the reason we picked it. When I looked at our portfolio, and you've got to remember, Bichot has an extensive portfolio. There's over 500 cuvées in their portfolio.
Wow.
We bring in approximately 65.
Wow.
And that's overly complex as well.
Wow, that's incredible. That's great. That is, if anyone's kind of looking at, they don't really know they don't really know Burgundy, and they want to kind of know, or maybe you've only really heard of the word Chablis, I think this is a fantastic place for people to start.
Yeah.
Like, Macon. Awesome. Thank you so much. That is a treat. Let's move on. Speaking of Chablis, or Chables, as I like to call it when I'm trying to bring down the pretense of Chablis, I guess.
Oh, it's this pretense of Burgundy, I think.
The pretense of Burgundy. Actually, another thing before we move on to the Chablis, you notice the glasses that we're drinking out of, everyone. We are drinking out of a proper Burgundy glass. Very important, isn't it?
It is.
You don't have to spend a lot of money on glasses like this. This is just chef and sommelier. Good value for money. They don't break very easily, but yeah, there's something about the aromatics that come from the glass, isn't it?
And that's an important part because Burgundy wines are expressive wines. They don't work well in a tight format glass, the same way that champagne doesn't work well in a tight format glass as well.
Yeah.
It needs the bowl to allow the aromats to express themselves. It needs the funneling of the fluid and the tulip to give that precision of the different characteristics.
The precision, I love that. Okay, cool. So we are now drinking Chablis Premier Cru Leigh, which is actually a great segue into cru levels, because I think for me, one of the things that confused me so much about Burgundy is the cru levels. Like, what does cru even mean? What is that like? Just, talk to the person at home. And remember, guys, if you have any questions or if something needs more clarification, please just put it into the chat box and we'll pop up on the screen for us to answer it. But yeah, for those at home, what does cru levels mean?
Cru levels, I think there's a lot. The French are criticised often for their classification, but then again, the Germans have classification, the Italians have classification. And it's really about the level of quality that the wine is producing. So simply within France, the ASC has 4 levels. It has regional, which is about approximately 50% of all wines made within Burgundy. And then you have premier, you have village, and that's about the particular appellation that it comes from.
Kind of thing.
Then you move to a premier cru, which is the next level. That's called first cru, and then grand cru. And grand cru, there are probably less than 3% of all wines in Burgundy total that are grand cru.
And compared to, because the same cru thing is used in Bordeaux,
Correct.
right? But I think the difference in Bordeaux is it's based on maison, it's not based on vineyard, correct?
Correct, it's based on the chateau.
Yeah, chateau, that's right. So, whereas Burgundy, the cru level is based on the actual village.
It's on the village.
On the actual vineyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's across 2 things. So there'll be the village will be designated as a premier cru village, and then within that you may have grand cru as well. So in the Côté, in places like Richebourg, Chazog, they're grand cru, and so that designation is there for that particular village.
Okay, and why something, say a Macon, probably retails $28 to $30?
Yeah.
Why something like a Chablis, like why the pricing? Like why is the pricing of these wines so high?
Well, it's a good question. This will probably pop out at around $85, $90 a bottle.
Oh, that's okay.
Maybe a little bit more depending on where you're going, but you're talking about a more limited production to start with.
Yeah.
So the regional wines can draw grapes from different parts of the region of either Beaune or Bourgogne, period.
Yeah.
This must come from one single vineyard.
Okay.
So this is in the Beaune. So this is a particular vineyard that sits right at the top end. And when you taste this, probably the first thing you'll get is a taste of almost herbaceous forest
I was
floor.
actually saying how like green that was on the
Yeah.
nose. I was not expecting that. I was, interesting.
And the forest sits right behind. It's quite a windy peak. And as you peer back into Chablis, it looks across into the Grand Cru, across the town of Chablis. And it's a lonely, windy place. So this has to work really, really hard. So Bichot's vineyard sits right at the top of this rise, and the winds come in from the southwest, and it's a lonely wind. And so you get this, it's a much more textural, it's a much more, for me, it's got some beautiful just breadth to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I did have a sneaky sip. One thing that is absolutely beautiful, and is this typical of Chablis, that acidity is divine. Like that acidity, like you get all this beautiful fruit and everything, and then it's just balanced with this acid that just like cuts through the palate.
Yep.
You've got all that forest floor kind of character coming through, but that acid, is that normal for Chablis?
Yeah, look, the winemakers have a conversation between the amount of residual sugar and acidity, and it's an active tension. So the acidity will give the longevity for the wine selling potential.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really important. This is very young, this is very lean, it's drinking beautifully now, but in 10 years' time, it will start to open out, the acidity will start to move back into the background, the primary fruits will start to come forward, you'll end up with a little bit more breadth in the wine itself, you'll start to get a little bit more brioche, you'll start to get a little bit more of the plumpness of the white fruits coming through.
Yeah, because I was going to say as well, I get a lot of that creaminess.
Yeah.
Is it because all Chablis goes through, or does Bichot's Chablis go through like a malolactic ferment? Like, because with that acid, you wouldn't think so. But
very little. There's
Yeah.
and whatever oaks used by Bichot.
But there is oak.
Just a small percentage.
But enough to give you that creaminess, correct?
The creaminess comes from terroir.
Oh, okay.
The Bichot refuses to use oak, like a lot of winemakers, particularly in the New World, to create flavour. This is not. This is about conditioning. This is about centering the wine and giving it a positive balance. This is not about additive of flavour.
Okay, please talk about terroir, because we hear about terroir, the word terroir, and thank you for bringing it up, because what on earth is terroir? Like, and it's very much Burgundian to talk about terroir. Why? Like, can you explain a little bit to the people at home?
Yeah, look, terroir is really interesting because if you talk to most people, they go, and if you excuse me, it's a real wanker's term.
You're allowed to say that on this show.
Yeah,
it's
okay.
fine.
So, but it's not. It's a word that's not readily translated in English. In fact, it cannot be translated in English. It has an etymology to it, so it's not just about the soil. The Burgundians have a very strong belief about that they don't look to the heaven, they look to the earth.
Beautiful.
And terroir is encompassing within that. So it's about the climat, it's about the appellation, it's about the soil, it's about the winemaker, it's about the season, it's about the vintage, it's about the winemaking practices, it's about the domain. There are so many things that go into terroir that it's almost physically impossible to put it down to one piece. People say it's simply about the dirt. That's a big part of it. But remember, this is not about dirt. This is about what's underneath that dirt, because in most vineyards, your dirt's there. It's what's underneath that's the most important piece.
Wow, that is awesome. Thank you for explaining that. So that is Chablis. As Leigh said, you're looking around $80, $90 a bottle on this kind of thing. But goodness me, like the complexity of something like this, it's got this creaminess, as you said, it doesn't come from oak, it's coming from the terroir. It's actually coming from the place that, you can taste where it's coming from, which is beautiful, but you're getting all this beautiful aromatic fruit coming through. It's got this delightful acidity, and you can really keep it for like 5-10 years.
Or more.
Or more.
More.
Yeah.
This would probably go 20 years.
Unreal.
Yeah.
I actually got the privilege of trying like a 40-year-old Chablis recently. It was just like honeysuckle and like absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
That's my favourite.
That is your favourite? Yeah. Oh, Chablis Premier Cru. So do you have a Grand Cru from Bichot as well?
We have several Grand Crus.
Okay.
We're very fortunate. We are the only producers of Mouton, which is a bit of the, I suppose it's like the Holy Grail.
Okay.
And so we have six. We have 6 Grand Crus in our portfolio.
Wonderful.
All of them very, very different. It's a place you've got to go to. I was sitting in the vineyards of Mouton just prior to Christmas. There's a little hut up there, and I got a cigar, and I sit there, and I'm just like, I'm watching the world go by. It's
That's
4
it.
o'clock on a Sunday afternoon. I've gone, this is really, really
That's
cool.
the life. Like,
Yeah.
that's the life. I love it. Guys, we're going to move on to reds. If you have any questions about the whites, please feel free to post them. If you have any comments, have you tried these wines before, let us know. But I'm very excited because you brought me one of my favourite things on the planet today.
Which one's that?
Beaujolais.
I thought that was a champagne.
Oh, second thing. Okay, champagne's obviously my favourite, but you know what? We can't always drink champagne. So we are drinking Beaujolais, but I, in my ignorance, did not even know this was Beaujolais until you told me it was. So what are we drinking?
So Mille Vent, a beautiful...
Which translates to?
a windmill on the hill. So basically, like I said, the French are very literal at what
They're
they
very
do.
literal, yes.
There's a lot of talk about this being classified as Premier Cru. Beaujolais for a long time has had a substantially bad name. I think Beaujolais Nouveau has done a lot to raise awareness of Beaujolais as a style,
Yep.
but it's done a lot of damage as well because most of the stuff is 2 weeks old bottled and it tastes...
It's just full of acid.
it's full of it's like cat's piss. It's awful. It really is.
Yeah.
Come
on.
Oh, well,
it's
okay.
a good way for people to start.
Oh, actually, I disagree with that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I prefer they drink a nice Village or a Mille Vent or a Bruy because it actually doesn't show you the true beauty of Beaujolais. And I love Beaujolais. It's one of my favourite parts of the region.
So where is Beaujolais?
Beaujolais is the
actually,
very...
do you have the map? Is that on that map?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Okay,
So
so
the very, very southern part.
Southern
so,
part.
yeah.
Okay, so we're getting much closer to the Rhone.
Much closer to the
Okay,
Rhone,
so
much
it's much
closer to
warmer. So is that
warmer? It's quite a gnarly environment. So when you go into Beaujolais, your impression is of these beautiful vineyards. When you get there, the vines are like this. They're gnarled and they're angry, and the soil is absolutely. You know, you look and go, how could anything grow on this soil?
Is that right?
Yeah, it's rocks everywhere. It's just, and you look out, it's a lonely, lonely part of the world. Beaujolais is Gamay, and Gamay is a really interesting red wine.
So this is Gamay.
Yep. So that's the.
I knew
that's
that.
Yeah, I know. it's one of those things, but you know, to give you an idea, this is a piece of cutaway from the village.
Wow.
And this looks like a T-bone steak, and seriously, that's what it grows through. So why does this particular wine have this type of flavour? Because it's going through this ionised quartz and it's drawing through all this amazing flavour.
Unbelievable.
The vines are 45, 50 years old. They're old. They're just angry with the world, and they just want to make wine.
They have a chip on their shoulder.
And they want you to go away.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. That smells incredible. I really wish this had smell-o-vision because this smells so good. You're getting all those beautiful berries, like the red fruits, purple fruits, like lots of, it's just this beautiful concoction of a fruit salad, like berry salad going on in here. But also you can really smell the earth, like it's gamey and it's earthy.
Gamey's a really good description.
Gamey's,
A fantastic description.
Yeah, see, this is life. Like to me, this is like Sunday afternoon barbecue, sitting on the back porch.
This is joie de vie. It really is. You know, you asked the question about why Burgundy with me, because it is joie de vie. It is the true essence of life. You know, this is. To me, wine's my mistress as well, so it's a really interesting point. I'll keep that quietly.
Maybe that's I would agree. I would agree. Wow, that's so beautiful. But the acid's so soft. I mean, people would chill this down, wouldn't they? Like they just...
I would have that at 8 degrees.
Yeah, chill it down.
Yep.
There's not a lot of complexity to it, but it's just such a good one to smash back. Like, not that we advocate smashing back wine, but it's got enough character to warrant wanting to drink a lot of it. You know what I mean? I'm trying to say this in the most RSA way possible.
No, it is. It's a, you know, if it was a beer, it'd be called a sessionable wine.
It's sessionable. It's sessionable. That's the word.
There you go.
It is a sessionable wine.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This is why you're here. It's like, I have to sort of...
It ain't for the good looks, that's for sure.
Telling the people at home, I'm like, it's the first time I'm not driving today, so they'll notice I'm not spitting as much today. That's probably
You're
the truth.
entitled to.
But that's beautiful. The colour's beautiful.
Yeah.
This is, again, for people who aren't really red wine drinkers, this is a fantastic place to start.
And it is. We did a picnic for 6 of our clients in Newcastle about 3 weeks ago, and the women there were mid-20s, not big red wine drinkers, you know, really just starting out. And 2 of the girls rang me up and they said, "Leigh, we normally don't drink red wine, but God, we love that Beaujolais.
Yeah.
How did we get it?" And that for me was the testament. That was, you know, what you just said.
It's right. Yeah, it's exactly right. Because you got this beautiful, like on the palate. I'm trying to think of like something that people would know. Like, I wouldn't say like hubba bubba, like but it's like
It's strawberries
Strawberries
and cream.
Strawberries and cream.
Yep.
It's like a strawberries and cream lolly. It's
Yep.
so easy to drink. It's got that little bit of residual sweetness, but sugar, not sugar sweetness, but fruit sweetness to it, without being a sweet wine.
It's a macerated cherry. Reminds me of,
macerated cherry, sour cherry.
It reminds me of cheesecake, a cherry cheesecake.
Cherry, yeah. Oh,
Because you've got the creaminess of the cheesecake,
yeah.
and then you've got the beauty
tart.
of the jelly and the macerated cherries going through it.
That is delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to BYO tonight and go for dinner with this one. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Great one. Great place to start on our reds. Absolutely awesome. Guys, again, if you have any questions, please let us know. Where are we going to go? I think we're going to go to the Bourgogne now, right?
Where are we?
So one thing people always say, like Bourgogne, it's the word, Burgundy, right?
It's the proper definition of Burgundy.
Yeah.
The English-speaking world call it Burgundy. It is Bourgogne.
So Bourgogne. So when someone's looking for Burgundy, they find the word Bourgogne, but obviously there's different levels to this Bourgogne, right? So
yeah.
what are we drinking here?
Well,
in
this
Bourgogne?
is a really interesting one because you've got you have a Côté. Pardon me.
Pour it.
I'm sorry.
Come on.
You said
Talking about it. Go for it. Yep. Okay, so this is Haute Côte de Nuits. Okay.
Yep.
So we're up here now.
So in the Côte de Nuits. So you can have a Bourgogne is again a regional blend. So this will be picked from different vineyards within the Côte de Nuits region.
Okay.
The appellation and the same with the Côte de Beaune.
Okay.
So this won't come from a single vineyard. This may come from a multitude of vineyards.
So when people see the word Bourgogne, they have to kind of know that that's probably not just one
Correct.
vineyard?
There won't be an appellation. There won't be a village associated with it. So if this came from Fixin, Marcenay, Corton, wherever, you'll see that on there as an affixed village.
Yep. So if they see Nuits Saint-Georges, it means it's from
Correct.
Nuits Saint-Georges.
Yep.
But Bourgogne,
It's a regional appellation.
Okay.
But this is a high-level regional appellation. The vineyards that this comes from are exceptional quality.
Okay.
It's just that the Bichot team want to have a regional wine. Regional wines are really important. As I said, they're 51% of all wines made in Burgundy right now.
Okay.
So they play an important role to give people an opportunity to step into wine that they normally probably couldn't do because of price points.
okay. One thing I do see a lot of is the word haute.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
High,
It's the high village. It's a
it's a high.
high region of.
Yeah, it's just high, like haute cuisine.
But high vineyards, or is it high?
No, it's a high. It's a quality. It's a quality. Like haute cuisine is, good food.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, good wine. Yeah.
This is why I don't drink, as I do the show. Okay.
It's fine.
One thing I'm noticing straight away on the nose is that it's quite reserved. It's quite restrained.
Yep.
Is that because of age?
It's the style of the Pinot.
So we are on Pinot finally.
Yeah,
Okay.
we are on Pinot, unless they've changed the bottle on me. But seriously, this is a young wine. It's quite a restrained wine. So for people that are looking for something that's quite tight and direct, people like that. This is a perfect wine for them because the expression's all just in the front palate. It's all here. It's very linear, so it goes straight down your tongue.
Yep.
The warmth you get at the back end is very short. So this is a very short, punchy little red.
Yep.
So, if this was we're in boxing, this would probably be a welterweight.
Okay.
So she's not in with the big boys and girls. But
very green stalky.
very green stalky.
Yep.
A lot of capsicum, a lot of herbaceousness in there.
Yeah. Where is that again? Terroir? Is that just?
That's terroir.
Yeah.
It's all the expression of terroir comes out so many times. So with Champagne and with Burgundy, the expressions about the wines are alive. They are representative of where they come from.
It's really...
You've got to look at it another way too, Dan. Just that in Burgundy alone, there are 100 appellations and over 1,200 individual climats. This is what I talked about before with complexity. We don't have that complexity here in Australia.
But you're talking about what, 45 kilometres of vineyards?
Oh, yeah, you sort of from one end to the other to Chablis, 96 kilometres.
And there's that much difference.
Yeah, look, I can
unreal.
take you to parts of the northern, the Marcenay and Fixin, and you could be there and I could be here, and the Pinot that I produce and the Pinot you produce
Two different things.
can be totally different.
At 100 kilometres, that's crazy.
Well, not even that. Even the Clos in our Clos in Pommard, there are 10 different soil types in a 20 hectare Clos. This is complexity, and this is what I mean. The soil shifting and the types. It's like nothing on earth. It really is. This is why I get excited about it, because there's so much to learn.
Oh, so much. I feel like just having this conversation with you, like I'm forgetting that there are people at home. Like this is really interesting to me. I had no idea. Like,
Well, we've got
some idea, but not a lot.
We've got to thank the Citrus monks who in the 10th century
okay.
started to do all this, and it's really interesting because the original climats and the appellations were designed by the Citrus monks back in the 11th and 12th century. They did a geological replication of the mapping of all the vineyards. They were within 95% confidence.
Wow.
And, you know...
That's unreal.
Yeah.
That's
wild. With no technology like we have today.
Crazy.
But they could tell you where
know.
one vineyard stopped,
and
where
the
one
other
appellation stopped.
That's amazing. All right, well, let's have a look at this. We've mentioned the nose, but, you are also getting all those Pinot characters like that smokiness, that peppery Pinot that people kind of would I guess, know, being from Australia. What's the palate like?
A lot more powerful than the nose. It delivers much bigger.
I should be spitting. But it's like...
A bit late now, Ed.
But it's smoky, but it's still, you got that, it's very similar to Tasmanian
Yeah.
in a way, but a little bit more complex.
A lot, with I think it depends on the
fruity.
the clones we use in Burgundy we don't use in Australia. So
Okay, it's just interesting. It's got like the smokiness, the pepperiness,
the tarry.
that sour cherry,
Yeah.
all that stuff coming through, but way more complex than. Like this is delicious.
Yeah,
Like, you wouldn't know it. I wouldn't know that's French if I would have been.
Well, I'm always, people will always say, can you compare this to something? I can't compare this to something because a Tasmanian Pinot or a Bellarine Peninsula Pinot or a Mornington Peninsula Pinot or an American Pinot, the only thing they have in common is that they're Pinot.
Yeah.
You can't compare them. I can't put side by side. I'm struggling to put two Burgundy side by side and compare them from the same village.
One thing that's very unique to this is the floral.
Yeah.
That floral character.
You get you're getting
so beautiful.
jasmine and the white
flowers.
rose.
White roses.
Yeah.
Straight. I was like, there's that is beautiful.
And elderberry is really endemic behind this as well.
Elderberry.
Yeah. Some subtle violets as well as this ages. You'll pick up some really interesting violet notes in there.
It's delicious.
Yeah, it is.
Listen, I'll drink it.
Yeah,
What kind of price point are we looking at here?
You're probably looking at retail, probably early 50s.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible value.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I'm a big person on value, and I go for $50. That's a good wine for over
55, 60
That's
bucks.
a fantastic wine
Yeah.
for $60.
Yeah.
Like that is a fantastic wine. And how long would you age something like this?
Because it's a regional blend, probably 5 to 10 years max. This to
Wow.
me, I think is I like this young and
This is
constrained.
perfect how it is actually.
I've got to choose my words a little bit carefully there. It's like
Constrained. Oh, Leigh. No, this is actually perfect how it is, isn't it? This is delicious. Another great place for people to start, really.
Oh, it is. And something, Burgundy can be affordable.
Yeah, I think people forget that. I think people think straight away they go straight to Grand Cru and they're spending $300-400.
Don't
You don't need to.
You got to appreciate a Grand Cru. You've actually got to go from the bottom up. If you start up there and you set that benchmark, you really can get yourself in trouble. And I know personally.
I know a lot of friends. If Terence is watching, I know that guy. You know Terence.
Yeah.
He only drinks like Grand Cru Burgundy
Yeah.
now. Awesome. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Great place to start for the Pinots for this afternoon. Where are we going next? We have a couple more. Actually, we got the Beaune now. Is that correct? Yep.
We have.
Okay, so explain Beaune. I think you have a map as well. Did you want to show in the map the pictures?
Well, it's a little bit hard to show, but Beaune is right in the middle of...
right there?
Right there. So it's not the capital of Burgundy. Dijon is the capital of Burgundy.
Okay.
But people think Beaune is the capital of Burgundy. It's not.
Is that because where the best wines come from, or?
All the major maisons are there.
Okay.
And the Hospice de Beaune's there. It's a pivot point in Burgundy.
Okay, interesting. So what are we seeing as a difference in this compared to what we've just had?
Right, so this is coming from a single vineyard de Clos, the Clos d'Hermitage, so it comes from a particular vineyard.
Okay, so Clos means particular vineyard.
Well, the Clos is defined by, if you've ever noticed in any pictures of Burgundy or in Bordeaux, where you have the small stone rose, that's the Clos.
Okay.
And the Clos is, in Burgundy, it's all UNESCO heritage listed, so the Clos are defined. Can't be changed, can't be altered, can't be anything. That is it.
They're so protective, aren't they?
God bless them. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, beautiful. Straight away on the nose, I smell oak. Is there an oak
Just a
treatment
little
in this?
bit, yeah.
Just a little bit.
A little bit again. Again, Bichot's use of oak is not flavour.
So it's incredible. That is really incredible.
This is where it comes from. It's terroir again.
16 was a good vintage too, wasn't it?
16 was a pretty good year. 15 by far the best.
Yeah.
18 is turning into a sensational vintage.
We actually had a discussion about this, didn't we? We talking about the 18 because that was the smoke. The smoke, was it smoke that?
No, 18 was a great year. 17 was just a. Let me back this up. You asked reason around pricing. 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, absolutely shocking vintages.
Okay.
Most of less than 50% production, worse even still. 15 cracking a year, but there was no reserve stock. 16 okay, 17 another shocking vintage, 18 a great year, 19 come see come sa, 20 they're feeling at this stage it's going to be another 18.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, awesome. So what are we going to expect from this compared to the previous one?
Well, again, the lovely word I like to use is complexity. You're going to have a lot more. You're going to have a lot more depth. You're certainly going to have a lot more. There's a lot more going on in this wine. So, this is where, for the serious Pinot drinker, someone who wants, and I get this all the time from my mates. They go, "Have you got a full-bodied Pinot that looks like a Shiraz?"
This is a full-bodied Pinot that smells like Shiraz.
Yeah.
This is wild.
Yeah, and this gets in that characteristic. So it's meaty, it's fleshy.
So much.
Yeah, and it's got some really interesting characteristics going. But it's still the elegance is still there, so it hasn't been lost. And so there's still a number of, these are another set of words I often have trouble with. The French, and I love it, describe their wines in feminine and masculine.
Yeah, this is masculine.
This is a masculine wine, but still maintains the beautiful cadence of feminine characteristics.
It's still got those floral notes.
Yeah.
It's still got that beautiful fruit.
Yeah.
But it's almost, maybe because of the age on it, it's just got a little bit more of that stewy fruit, like that more cooked berries coming through rather than the fresh berry that was coming through on the previous wine. But yeah, definitely much more masculine. Like this feels like this is a punchy wine. I haven't even tried it yet, but I'm excited. If anyone likes like fuller bodied reds, I would never say go to Burgundy, but this really, from what I can smell, like that purple fruit, it really feels, it's like cooked purple fruit, like stewy.
Yep.
But it's like almost oaky, but it's not. So I'm thinking maybe it's the cigar box, like kind of like
cigar box. But what you'll find is when you get in there, you'll find the top of the roof of your mouth is going to immediately get coated with this amazing infusion of flavours, and it goes to your tongue and it goes straight to the roof of your mouth.
But it was like incensey, like
Yeah.
struck match going in,
Yep.
like when
Yep.
you burn incense and then you let it, like you blow it out.
That's the flinty edge. That beautiful flintness comes into
That
it.
is so nice.
Yeah.
That is so yummy.
It's a very elegant, luxurious wine. It has power. Has the power of a Pommard.
Yeah.
And it has the beauty of a Volnay. And that's why I like this wine, because it actually shows a beautiful representation of the masculine and feminine nature of the wines.
Even that like dubiness, like it's
Oh,
almost
yeah.
juby.
Yeah.
It's so complex.
Yeah.
There's like layers and
This is one of my-
layers.
this is one of my
keeps opening
faves.
up. It just keeps opening up, and like that finish is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But that jubiness, this is a really dumb question.
No
But
such thing.
that creaminess that's coming through, if it's not from oak, it's got to be from somewhere.
Terroir.
No terroir. Seriously?
Yep.
So there's no like a malolactic ferment. There's nothing. This is 100%. This is incredible. Like as I said, this is a blind spot in my wine knowledge, guys. I have tried Burgundies before, but I obviously haven't tried the different layers of Burgundy before. That has just blown my head off. I need to drink more Beaune. That is what I need to do.
One of my favourite, and it's underrated. It's a very underrated wine.
It is.
You see very little
You don't
of this.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's so I mean. So as the average consumer, which I consider myself the average consumer of Burgundy, I don't know about this.
No.
I don't know unless it's like $300 a bottle.
Well, see, there's your problem, because without sounding disrespectful to a lot of the other fellow importers, they will buy on the appellation, they'll buy on the winemaker's name.
Okay, yeah, of course.
And then you've got the other side of the scale where you'll get the cheap stuff, and there is comparatively
You can buy
speaking,
cheap stuff. Of course you can. Yeah, of course.
And it's bloody awful. It really
Yeah.
is. It's really disgusting. It's thin. It's vacuous, and it's just you sit there and you go, this is not Burgundy, because I know Burgundy really well. Excuse me. I would never consider myself an expert.
Yeah.
I have a very good working knowledge. So to me, this is the beauty of what we're talking about. There's so much going on.
And you know, I love, so Leigh's a little bit like me, guys. He only imports one brand from the region. He's not just about importing whatever comes in. Like, it's not about importing and making money or all that kind of stuff. It's actually about showcasing the best of what a country can do or what a region can do, very much like what we do, which is why I wanted him on the show today. And it's so great that Albert Bichot is showing what the region can do, which is exactly what I was looking for a show like today. So that's awesome. All right. I don't want to tip that out, but that is delicious.
Might reserve that one.
I know, right? We need to reserve that one, right? We'll definitely take that one to dinner too. All right. So we have one more, sadly. Only one more wine to go. But I was really excited. We're doing a Mercurey Rouge. I've actually only ever tried Mercurey Blanc. Obviously just Pinot and Chardonnay once again, but what makes Mercurey so special or different or all those things?
I think because it comes from the Côté Châlonnais, it's a very underrated appellation.
And where's...
And the very southern part again.
Southern part,
yeah.
Okay.
So it's down there, you've got Rouy, Mercurey, you start to move into Vieux-Clisset, where we started before with Lugny. But Mercurey has this beautiful energy about it.
Probably a name like Mercury.
Underweight by reputation, underweight by price,
Yeah.
and underweight by understanding.
Okay.
Excuse me. This is actually, when I look at my go-to wine for a Tuesday night pasta or pizza.
Oh, really?
This is where I go to. Yeah.
So we're not going to Italy for that. We're just going to go and sit in
Well,
Burgundy for
this
that.
could probably push a good Barolo or Chianti around the ridges, but
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be I'm the perfect Chianti and pizza kind of girl.
Yeah.
So let's see what this can do. Still 100% Pinot Noir. Is the
100%
soil
Pinot Noir.
different? Like, have you brought a different piece of soil today?
no.
Or
The soil's
both?
a little bit more that sandstone flinty flavour look at.
Okay.
But I love Mercury because no one understands it. It's been the poor cousin for a long time.
Poor cousin.
You know, well, when you start to talk about the big guys and in Nuits and George,
Yeah.
people gravitate towards Châlonnais, Côté, all the big names.
Yeah.
And they forget that there's other beautiful regions. Like, we haven't spoken about Marseille and Fixin to the north, two of my favourite appellations and villages.
I like that you like the places that aren't known.
Well,
Like,
that's what-
you're the
yeah.
fan of the places that aren't
Correct.
as famous. Awesome. Straight away on the nose, it's much more. What's the word I'm looking for? Like baby powdery on the nose. Like, it's
Talcum
got that
powder?
really
Yep.
talcum
Yep.
powder, that sort of character coming through on the nose. Lots of fruit still, like lots of that purple fruit coming through. It's so funny. Like, I think of Pinot and I think just sour cherry, but none of these have really just been sour cherry. None of them.
No,
They're all
no.
so much more complex than that. They've got all that whole thing of fruit going on. But that talcum powder is so interesting.
Yeah, it's
and that would
the-
be from terroir too,
it is
right? From
terroir.
the soil, from the shale or the...
from
what did you call that thing before?
God, I've forgotten now.
The schist.
Schist.
Schist. The schist.
No, I had on my teeth. But if you look at that, you want to make a comparison before. When you drink a Pinot from Oregon from the Willamette Valley, it shows you all these purple fruits and purple flowers. You get the nasturtiums, the violets. You'll get the orange blossoms, the jasmines, all sitting through. People go, well, they add this stuff to the wine. I go, no. And it's endemic in the soil.
Yeah. Orange blossom, actually.
Orange blossoms,
Orange blossom.
yeah. And
That's
there's a
wild.
little
It's like
bit
mandarin.
of mint in there too.
Oh, absolutely. That is so interesting.
Yeah.
This is like light and like, if I think of the planet of Mercury kind of thing, this is, as you said, ethereal. Like, this has got so many wild characters going on. Things that I would normally associate with with white wine.
Yeah.
Like all those flowers, all that blossom, all that, like, this is beautiful. Like, so light and...
Well, you've just nailed it, because it's often referred to as the the red wine drinker's white.
Yeah, a white wine drink is
red. Yeah,
it is a white wine drink is red because it's really it's to me very similar to a white wine. Like, it's got all those same characters, but it's got this beautiful soft acid, and it's really yummy.
It's gorgeous.
Really yummy.
It really is.
And in terms of price point, where does something like this sit?
This will probably pull into the excuse me, into the high 70s, 80s, maybe higher. It really depends on the retailers where they pitch it. Depending on where they are. At restaurant, I'd happily pay 160, 170,
Oh,
something like this.
absolutely.
I have no problems with that.
Oh, it's stunning.
Not for the quality of what I'm drinking out there.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. Like really, really interesting. Actually, that's the best word I can use for that because I feel like this kind of bubble goes over my mouth. Yeah, like this.
You get the aluminum feeling.
That's what it is. It's this weird foil that goes over my mouth. But it just makes me want to drink more of it.
That's what it is, and the other thing you'll get there, and you get it particularly with the Chablis, is the saltiness.
Yeah,
and that saltiness puckers. I've got it here, and I've got the puckering in my lips, so I feel like a chipmunk right now because I've got the roof of my mouth is coated, I've got the puckering of the lips, and it's just like you see me going. That's your best thing is that it is inviting you back.
That's what it's like. I just want to drink it again. But how you get all that orange blossom and white flowers, and yet you still get all this beautiful red fruit and purple fruit, like that is and that powderiness as well. That is such an interesting wine. I'm stoked. That's awesome.
The other good part about Bichot too is that they are now certified 100% organic. Not all across their vineyards. It's a long process to do that, but the majority of the vineyards are. And they've now, with the 2018 vintage, is the first of their organic wine making or production as well.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So that's not a plus. Does that make the wine better? No, just the wine. These are clean wines. So there's no additives. There's no pesticides, fertilizers, herbicides in the wine making. You're not adding tartaric acid, citric acid, flavourings, artificial yeast. This is pure 100% juice that comes from the terroir. Stole my words.
I love it. I love it. This has been such a treat and such a good education in Burgundy. The saddest thing is, I mean, we're going to just have to drink all these now.
Yeah, but the problem is I brought you the tip of the iceberg. We haven't really gone through Premier or Grand Cru.
I know. Okay, well, you're going to have to come back and do that again.
Okay, cool.
All right, so where can... okay, let's start from the beginning. If someone was going to start collecting, if they've just started collecting Burgundy, where do you think they should start here?
Look, I think you've got to look at it a couple of ways. So you've got to have wines you can have every day to drink. So,
No, they want to cellar it.
Well, if they want to cellar it...
If they want to cellar it, they're just collecting, what are they going to cellar?
Then I jump into the Premier Crus, but it really depends on what price point, because the Premier Crus can, start to be at $80, $90. They can be $300, $400, depending on where you're coming from. Higher still. You start to jump in the Grand Crus, you're going to be jumping into the thousands.
Look, no one's drinking Romani Conti, okay? We're not going to start at Romani Conti.
Well, have you seen the price of Romani Conti?
I do not want to see the price.
Last one was sold for 14,000 euros.
But see, I look at that, and I think we had this conversation the other day where I said, why is there the price on Chablis? And you said to me, how much do you think it would cost for a hectare?
Yeah.
Right? So how much would you think a hectare costs? And I was like, I don't know, 10, 12 grand. And you're like, try
closer to nearly 7 million euros.
7 million euros for a hectare of land.
And that's in above Village and into Premier Cru. If you want to go Grand Cru, there was a hectare sold in Clos-Vougeot for just over 15 million euros.
Like,
so
that's wild.
We're in the wine world. I can buy 3 mansions in Port Piper for that.
I know, that's wild to me.
Yeah.
So really, Burgundian wine producers, it's not about the money, it's about the passion and the understanding. Because there's no way you're making money. Like, even if you're Romani Conti selling your first bottle for 10,000 euro, you're never making your money back for it.
Oh no, this is, and the same as Champagne Wines for most of the Champagne Wines winemakers, this is passion. These people, the Burgundians are connected to their terroir. There's such an intrinsic important part of who and what they are. There's an inseparable association between the men and women of Burgundy and their terroir.
Unbelievable. No, that was awesome. If someone were to want to buy some of this, what would you...
We're slowly getting around places. Like in Sydney, we've probably got better representation at restaurant.
Yeah.
So you'll find it at Matisse, at Catalina's, for example. Retail-wise, only a few locations where, because there's...
Shout out to Pitwater Cellars. Love you, Damien.
Yeah, Pitwater Cellars and Bellevue Hill Bottle Shop, really good guys. The Dan boys there do a great job.
Yeah, great.
We've got a very strong footprint, of course, in Newcastle.
You've got the Porter's Liquor Boys at Glebe as well.
Yes, we have.
And Alexandria, so if you're around that area.
Yeah, they're good guys as well.
But it's worth mentioning, Leigh has, because of the pandemic, stock was not able to leave France, so we're very low on stock. So we weren't able to do like a pre-sale on today's episode. But as soon as stocks come in, and we're looking at early August, we're going to be putting together a 6-pack at a really great price of these particular wines. So the wines we've tried today, we'll be putting a pack together for you and sending it out. So that'll be early August.
It'll be probably late August.
Late August.
We'll have it. The estimations are it's leaving around about the 8th or 9th of July.
Yeah,
34 days
perfect.
sailing, give or take. Second week of August, we'll be ready to go. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
so.
awesome. And then we'll, through our site,
Yeah.
Direct Wine Cellars, we will have a 6-pack put together because I'm excited. These wines are phenomenal. These are really, really beautiful. And it's such a beautiful place to start for people on their Burgundy journey.
Well, it's good. And too, the Zeiss.
Oh,
yeah. So
yeah.
because our wines are all under cork, people are often reluctant to
We should show this.
to open them
Yeah,
up.
do you
So we've partnered with the guys at Boyd's Wine Accessories, a great Melbourne-based firm. And this is a Swiss company. Most of you would have heard about Corrigan. And so this is the baby version. I love this because it's easy to use, it's portable, it runs on an argon gas system, so it has all the characteristics of
that
Corrigan.
sort of system.
Yeah.
So you can just try a little bit and then put it.
So basically,
We're just undoing the whole thing.
I'll go. So basically, it looks like this, and I won't go into this too hard. But basically, the argon gas is the cylinder's placed in there.
Yeah.
With the flange, and you've got a pillow that goes through.
Yeah.
So you can open up a really good bottle of wine. You can open up a Pomade or a Merceau, whatever, and and you can let it go. We've trialled this now for the best part of over 11 weeks.
Okay.
And the wine quality is exceptional.
And we can just stick it on the champagne cork as well.
We can. Yep.
How good's that?
Yep.
So
and
it goes on
preserve your
there,
champagne,
like there?
and bang, et voila.
I mean, a bottle of champagne never stays half empty in my house.
Well, I don't have that
but
problem either.
I
This
guess if you were doing that,
Yeah,
it
I
would
don't
work.
have this problem because when I open a bottle, I drink a bottle.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
But this would actually stop you from doing that.
Well, not in my house.
That's right. But that's a really great system.
Yeah.
So how long? I've never seen this. I mean,
the guys.
no, maybe I have seen it. I saw it at Taste Champagne
With Taste
last
Champagne
year.
last year was the first time we saw it.
Yeah.
So cost wise, where the average Corrigan system is probably upwards of $600. At retail, this is probably around the 180, 185.
It's worth it though if you're
Yeah.
opening wines like this.
Yeah, it is.
Or even
Because-
opening like more like
Well, you can
expensive
open up a
Grand Crus.
whole range.
Yeah, wonderful. Awesome. Thank you for sharing
It's
that.
got away,
I
don't
love finding like little like wine preserving products. That's awesome. Okay.
Okay.
Leigh, thank you so much for
Should
the
I keep
education.
it brief? Because normally,
You kept it brief. That
Oh,
was
God.
fantastic. I hope you guys at home enjoyed that. I actually wasn't even watching your comments, and I was so engaged in this conversation. So sorry if anyone asked a question that I didn't get to, or had a comment that I didn't get to. I will go back. I will jump onto the Facebook Live after this to see if there's any questions. But thank you so much for the education.
My pleasure.
It was really
Always.
great, and we do hope to have you back again, and maybe we'll try some Grand Crus together.
Thank you, everyone. And if you've got any questions about Burgundy, bring it through Ange, gives us a call. You can
Yep.
always find us at Decante This.
At Decante This. So if you want to follow Leigh, it's at Leigh Dryden at Decante This. Decante This. That's how you'll find Leigh. But guys, I do hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I did. I do wish you were trying these wines. So please, if you aren't already, jump onto Direct Wine Cellars, sign up to our mailing list for when these wines come in, because you need to try a 6-pack of these wines. They are really something interesting and a real taste of what Burgundy does from north to south. So we do hope to see you on there. But until next week, where we have another guest coming on, this time we're going to be going to South Africa. So something a little bit different and unique compared to Burgundy. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Angelica Nohra, and I look forward to going in the bottle with you next week.